your windows. Lock your doors. Keep your loved ones near. Time is running out. It's here for fear.
Hey, welcome to Ear for Fear. I'm Rick, and this is the podcast where we talk about scary movies or movies trying to be scary. Today we are joined by one of our regular guests, Sleepy D himself, Darren Lindsay.
How's it going, man?
Welcome, man. Hey, thanks for joining.
Cool.
Today you and I are going to be chatting about 2010's Insidious.
Awesome movie.
Yep, directed by one of my favorite directors, James Wan, which we seem to regularly mention on this podcast,
I know, right?
Which is perfectly fine.
Now, you've done podcasts of movies that he's directed, right?
No,
or is this the first one?
This is the first one.
No?
Yeah. So the our listeners are in for a treat. But before we jump into it, let me do a quick synopsis. After her young son, Dalton, falls into a mysterious coma, Renee, a composer and stay-at-home mom, begins experiencing threatening sounds and visions, which remain unseen by her increasingly absent husband, Josh. However, when Josh's mother calls a paranormal investigator in hopes of providing answers, it is Josh who must confront his suppressed memories to save his family. Cool. So, hey, man, thanks for coming, driving all the way out here, and sitting down with me and chatting Insidious.
Yeah.
You actually recommended this movie.
Insidious, man. I mean, what do you say about it? It's a great movie.
Yes, it is.
That guy can do horror.
He can do horror. And like I was saying earlier on, we've chatted about him before, mentioned him several times, and he's really, really good at horror. It upsets me because he's still doing horror, but he's done like Aquaman and A Fast and the Furious. And I get it. Once you become kind of like that that it guy, that then all of a sudden Hollywood starts, banging down your door and you get these humongous blockbuster movies. Yeah. And that's fine. I didn't see Fast and Furious because I'm not into those.
So do you think that this is a situation where, how directors will, I don't know, they'll start out doing a genre, maybe it's a genre movie that they really love. So they start out, primarily directing those kinds of movies, and then maybe they get bored and or maybe they, I don't know, they feel like they're not stretching their creative, muscles enough. So then they try to branch out into a different genre. Or do you think that this is a scenario where maybe, Hollywood got in there and was, decided, to bang on its door for all these like superhero movies?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I haven't watched any interviews with him as to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know other directors have done that. The Sam Raimis of the world that we of course mentioned because, and I want to say this goes back to our Drag Me to Hell episode where I had mentioned, Sam Raimi, he just knows how to do horror. There are certain directors, it doesn't matter male or female, if you know how to do a genre, I believe, this is just me being selfish to stick to it because I love horror so much and this is a horror podcast.
Right.
I don't want to, it's not that Sam Raimi isn't good at doing a Spider-Man movie, or I think the rumor is he's signed on to do the next Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Which is interesting because I
like that movie.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. And so that's what I've heard. I don't know if that's just a rumor or if he's literally signed on to do it. It'll be good. I don't have no doubts. But then he did like that Oz movie with James Franco, and it's like
that movie was so bad.
It was bad. It wasn't good. And Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite all-time movies. And they've tried to do other movies with Wizard of Oz, like they did Return of Oz or Return to Oz or something back in the 80s. And that wasn't that good. And then they do this one, and it's just leave well enough alone. I know it's not a remake or a reboot or anything. It's like either an extension or almost like a prequel to the story. It
would be awesome, by the way, is if somebody came up with a creepy horror version of Wizard of Oz.
I would not be surprised if someone that's in the works somewhere. Like, I think I've read something like that, or like there's a comic book or something that has like, yes. Cause the Wizard of Oz, like, and I think it's in the, God, what is the Wizard of Oz? Is it the 40s? Probably, is it 40s? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
I'll rewatch it. So that's 80 years ago.
I know.
That's 80 years
Isn't
ago.
That crazy?
And it still holds up, which just blows my mind. But
I think it was the first movie in Technicolor.
I think it was. And those flying monkeys and that witch, they're still scary.
Yeah, they are.
Right? Those flying monkeys they're very eerie. And that witch she's just absolutely perfect. And so
anytime you put wings on a monkey.
Oh my God, it's not right. And so yeah, and I thought I'd read something about some sort of like reimagining of the Wizard of Oz, and hell, for all we know, there's something out there that could be like, I've never seen this play that they talk. What is it? Wicked or what is it called? Wicked or what is it called?
Yeah.
It's like a Broadway play of the Wizard of Oz, but I don't know what it's about.
I think it's that.
Is it called Wicked? Or
I think it's just
like
Wicked.
I wonder what that's about. Like I don't do plays.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't want to. It's just, where are we going to go around here?
Right.
Right. I mean, we're not, so, yeah. So, we're luckily if we get some like rinky-dink Grease production that rolls through the town.
Grease on ice.
Yeah. Grease on ice. Yeah. So, but, I just, because again, we're a horror podcast and we love the horror genre. I want the Sam Raimis of the world and the James Wans of the world to stick to that, but I know they're not. And I know they want to branch out and do other things. And sure, I mean, everyone does. I mean, come on.
But Sam Raimi needs to get back on that damn horse.
Oh yeah,
because his stuff is also
it is. It's great.
Yeah,
his stuff. He just gets it.
Well, you know what I love about James Wan and like his approach to, he layers so much. So many elements into a scene, and often you have to watch it again to find all these new things. Like, maybe there's like as like a character is walking down a hallway, and then there's a room that they walk by, the doorway, and then like in the corner is some shadow of some creature or something, and you don't necessarily notice it the first time, or maybe you do. But it's so dense with those kinds of layers, and that just adds, to the ambiance and, everything about the movie.
He does that, and it's a good way of putting it, because he does layer all of these different things. And when I'd seen Insidious several times, and for this podcast, I rewatched it because, it had been a little bit since I'd seen it, and I'd caught certain things that I hadn't caught before, which is always a good thing.
Plus, you're an old man now, so your memory sucks.
It does suck. So that's why I had to watch it last night for this podcast. But it's okay. It happens as we get older.
It does,
and more so for me.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't talk. I've got a couple of years on you.
You do. Your memory seems to be a lot better than mine.
Yeah. Ginkgo biloba.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I'm playing.
Yeah.
But also pacing. Pacing is huge, especially when it comes to horror movies. And that guy seems to know exactly what he's doing on pacing and building that tension.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. I mean, we go back, his, I think the first movie that kind of, made him kind of a name and had people kind of look and going, okay, was Saw, and, he's done Dead Silence, which,
I've never been into those movies.
Which one? The Saw movies?
Yeah, it's like the torture. I don't like the torture stuff.
I don't like the torture stuff either. The first Saw, minus the torture stuff, is just a really good movie. And I think I've talked about it before, where I've seen so many of these movies, I can usually figure out what is happening, and I did not in Saw.
Yeah.
I had, like, I guess if someone's never seen Saw, oh, by the way, there's going to be a ton of spoiler alerts in this episode. But if you've never seen Saw, I'm going to give you a few seconds. You can shut it off and then maybe come back about 20 seconds from now. But at the end, I had no idea the guy laying there was part of the whole. I'm like, are you shitting me right now?
Yeah.
And it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
And he just has a knack for horror and like you said, building tension and suspense and layering everything. And he just gets it.
He does. And it's all the way across the board. It is from the sound to the lighting on a scene. Everything is just spot on. I mean, because even lighting on a scene completely matters. When do you darken things up? Like, you know what I mean?
Yes,
and if you darken it up, there has to be something. So he seems to do a really great job with, I don't know, maybe moonlight coming out of it, from a window, which sort of lights part of the room in like a blue cast, and it's just crazy good. You
know what I noticed with him, and he's done this in Insidious and he's done this in Conjuring. He has this way, and I don't know how to explain it. You're staring at something. And as you stare at it long enough, stuff starts to become clearer.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Like, let's say you're walking. I used to work in a movie theater, back in the late 80s. Mm-hmm. And part of my job I'd have to go into a movie and just walk up and down the main aisle just to make sure people weren't being stupid. And I would have to do this with a flashlight. Normally I would leave the flashlight off because it would distract from people watching the movie. So when you first come into this theater, it's dark and it takes a little bit of time for your eyes to adjust.
Yeah.
And I'd worked at the theater for a couple of years. So it was very easy for me to adjust over time.
Right.
In his movies, he's done this in Insidious and he's done it in The Conjuring, where you don't see something immediately.
Yeah.
It takes time for almost your eyes to focus, but then the image to almost come into view. And it's so effective.
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
It makes me wonder if that is a purposeful.
Oh, it has to be.
Right. Where maybe they're taking the camera and it's slightly out of focus, like not enough to be just a blurry mess, but slightly out of focus. And then as the scene is going, maybe they sharpen it up slightly,
Probably. It, to me, these are the scenes that I love, man. I kind of geek out on them because I'm a sucker for a good ghost story, haunted house movie. They kind of coincide with each other, but it's probably my favorite of the subgenre. And I know a movie is effective when the hair on my arm starts to stand up. and rewatching Insidious last night, that happened several times, even though I've seen this movie many, many times. I know it's happening. I know it's coming, but it's just,
so the first time I saw Insidious, do you know what hooked me? Well, so the beginning of that movie, it's not even really the beginning. I think it's more a little snippet scene of maybe the production house. I think it's a Blumhouse.
Yes.
Blumhouse.
I think it's is it Blumhouse or Blumhouse?
I think it's Blumhouse.
Yeah.
So I think it's just their little intro piece.
Yes.
But beyond that, because that's great, because that immediately piqued my interest.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see that kind of thing.
You don't.
You just see like the production house's logo come up, and that's pretty much it.
8 million companies that had to have some sort of,
So that was interesting to me that, there was this whole little mini clip, and it was all, kind of ghost, it reminded me of like a little bit of Poltergeist, a little bit of stuff.
Yes.
What really hooked me was that damn like chaotic violin immediate wall of sound with the giant Insidious. Scared the crap out of me, dude, when it first came up, because it's loud, and I like to watch my shit loud.
I know you do.
Yeah.
It is. It sets the tone, and it happens within the first minute of this movie.
Yeah.
It completely sets the tone, and the violins are so. I think I read that they used somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 and something. What's the proper word? Violinist? Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. I don't know terminology when it comes to
violini.
violini.
I don't
Is
know
it violinists?
I think it's just violinists. Yeah.
I think I'd read it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 100 or 130 different violinists to make that sound.
Yeah.
So it's so damn powerful.
It is.
And it just immediately sets the tone. And even as simple, again, I'm going to geek out here. It's little things to me in a movie. The opening credits when you see
they wisp away.
Oh
my God, dude!
I never caught it before, and I'm watching it last night, going, okay,
yes,
it's like this. Yeah, dude, it just kind of disappears into this fog or something.
It's like the name shows up on screen and then like floats away in like a wisp of smoke. Yeah,
dude, it's just little things like that I look for stuff like that.
Well, the devil's in the details, man. I mean, you know this. I mean, in graphic design, my line of work, you used to do that back in the day. Everything is about the details, and that's the difference between outstanding and okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's those details.
It is. It is. It's those little tiny things because, people notice it. Maybe not everybody. But
if you don't notice it consciously, you certainly subconsciously pick up on it.
True.
Maybe somebody wouldn't be their first thing that they, oh, hey, you remember on Insidious, the names that would come up with wisp away in smoke. But they know it's there and it aids in setting that overall tone.
It does.
For what you're about to watch.
It's like immediate. And you know what I didn't realize? And shame on me, but so James Wan he's of Chinese descent, but did you realize he's from Australia?
I had no idea.
Dude,
no idea.
I was watching after watching it last night, I started to watch some of the special features, which I normally don't do.
Yeah.
I was watching some interviews with him, and dude, he has an Australian accent.
Does he really?
I was tripping out. And so I started reading. I'm like, yeah, he's from Australia, but he's of course from Chinese descent. But yeah, he's Australian, and it was I just didn't expect it, I guess. And so, anyways, so let's jump into this thing, man. So as to our synopsis, we kind of know, what this thing is about. This I would almost break this movie down. It's almost like two movies in one. The first, I would say, third of this movie is a haunted house movie.
Yeah.
The second, not going to say half, but the last 2/3 of this movie is a possession movie. Yeah. And people would say, well, it's the same. Well, no, it's not. It's very different.
Yep.
A haunted house movie or a haunted house is usually ghosts, some sort of spirit or entity, which is based, which is usually a person, they were human and now they're dead and they're haunting, they're doing something.
Yeah.
A possession movie is more so a demon taking over, and a demon normally has never been human.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what you're seeing in these two movies. And I would argue that first third in this haunted house is not as scary as the last 2/3 of the movie in this really kind of quaint house in a regular subdivision. Right when you see it, it doesn't spank of a haunted house. The first one looks kind of little bit kind of scary. And
so you're talking about the two houses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the first house is really cool. I would love to live in that damn house.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second house they move into after leaving that house seems just like a typical suburban.
Yeah. But it was done on purpose from what I understand. It's like, so this first house, it looks like it could be haunted, right?
Oh yeah. It has that vibe.
It does. And they did a great job because in these movies, if this house doesn't have a certain look to it, it fails. And because the house almost is its own character, right? Like you got you got all these different characters throughout the movie, but I would argue that this house is its own character. And if it doesn't convey properly, then they failed. And they did a great job with this house.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get to see everything in the house, but we see enough of it. We see creaky doors, and we see an attic, and we see all, you know, a lot of wood in these in these homes that are, you know, these haunted house movies or these ghost movies, right? A lot of wood. And I don't know why that is. I think it just translate better into it has like an older feel to it.
Yeah, I would say that's exactly why they, you know, would choose like an older style house. You know, I mean, houses that are built today, I mean, obviously there's more wood involved, but most of the insides of a house today are, you know,
more modern color, more brighter colors, you know, older.
Yeah, I mean, you have sheetrock, and you have texture, true. And you just have paint. You know, these older houses, there's more character to an older house. There's a lot of craftsmanship that went into those older homes in the 30s, 40s. Yeah, you know, they used lots of exposed wood beams and that sort of thing, and it sort of adds to an organic nature. And I think, to your point, I think that's the reason why it works so well, is that the house in a way becomes an additional character in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just not going to get that from these modern houses today.
No, I mean, because if you go back to some of these, like, for instance, let's throw out a few, let's say Amityville, you know,
perfect example.
The Changeling. There's certain movies, if you go look back and you look at the home, it's just, even House, for instance, that even though the house itself was kind of like in this kind of subdivision, it stood out. It just had this look and this feel, and it does. The house takes on its kind of a life of its own. Burnt Offerings is another example. But yeah, I mean, it's just, again, it goes back to what we said earlier on. It's just James Wan understands. He sets the tone with everything. So it's a house or it's music or whatever the hell it is. He just gets this genre. And
although I will say that Steven Spielberg did a pretty good job with Poltergeist.
Well, that's actually
with that house.
Yeah.
Because that's really more
of
it's
supposed to be Toby Hooper is actually, it's funny with Poltergeist is you can look at the movie and it looks like a Steven Spielberg movie. It's actually directed by Toby Hooper.
Yeah, but wasn't it?
But Spielberg he was there all the time.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. His style, everything about is all over this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like if you didn't know any better, you go, yeah, it's a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
But it's really Toby Hooper.
But I mean, it's really Steven Spielberg.
It's really, I guess. Yeah. But yes, oh, absolutely. I mean, that house in Poltergeist, it's just in this regular subdivision.
It is. It's just a typical, what is that? Early 80s suburb home, just in the middle of probably somewhere down Southern California or something, you know,
probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, for all intents and purposes, there's nothing extraordinary about that house. Nothing that you could, I don't know, point to say, you know, that's like a character in the movie, but they did a great job. Like they did with that particular
they really did. That's a movie I want to do down the road, because that's an awesome movie as well. And what's funny is we bring up Poltergeist because rewatching Insidious last night. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, the similarities is ridiculous.
It is.
Like, it's weird. It's funny when I watch these movies in the past, I just watch it for the pure entertainment of it. And nowadays when we're doing an episode, I really kind of have to sit there, and it doesn't mean I don't enjoy it, but I have to analyze it. And I start catching little things or big things I didn't catch before. And oh yeah, Insidious has Poltergeist written all over it, man. Yeah. It's all over it throughout this movie. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Yeah. You know, and so anyways.
Well, I mean, you know, I'll do the same thing now. You know, I'm only on the podcast every once in a while. So when I am on, I'll certainly, watch the movie, and instead of watching it from a pure enjoyment place, I mean, although I'm enjoying it while I'm watching
Exactly.
it's more watching it, trying to analyze scenes so that, I don't sound like a complete freaking idiot when I come onto your podcast. However, I do the music and the editing for your podcast. So it is literally the same thing when I sit down to do the music for it. I have to analyze, I have to go into analysis mode. I'll watch the movie, look at the trailers. I got to get a vibe for what's going on with the music. And that's sometimes hard when you have all this eye candy on screen. You're trying to avoid actually looking at the scenes and just listening to the music they have underlying. You have to analyze it, and
I mean, the thing is with these, look, I mean, I think the reality is this. Look, I don't know how many different podcasts are out there.
A lot.
There's a lot. I know. I just didn't want to say it, but there's a lot of horror podcasts out there, and I'm sure there's probably 100 other podcasts that have done Insidious, and so. Are we gonna maybe talk about something that something someone else hasn't said? We hope so, but it's possible that we repeat it. We repeat some things and we just package it a little differently. Well, so if we can sit there and analyze it and catch little things that maybe someone else hasn't caught, or hell, I caught something last night that I hadn't caught before, and we'll talk about that later. And I keep saying geek out, but I was geeking out last night. I'm like, did I just see what I thought I saw? I'm like, that's cool.
Well, what's unique is that nobody has heard our take.
That's true. Because we haven't heard it. We're just saying it right now.
We're just saying it just now.
Yeah. So
what did I just say?
Yeah, what I know. So, and we don't, this is the thing. I mean, we don't script anything. There's a few things that we script in this podcast. I mean, here we're giving away our secrets, I guess, if they are secrets, but we don't really script a lot. Yeah. We just, we watch the movie, we write down some notes, and we just kind of just talk, because I would rather do that, because sometimes I feel like it's a more fresh take on it. I haven't asked you, look, I know you've seen the movie, but I haven't asked you any little details. I'm like, let's just wait. And it's just like, it's kind of like this, I don't know. It's like a surprise. You know what I mean? Sometimes something's coming, but if you don't know exactly what it is, it's like, oh, okay, I'm surprised. This is exciting and this is cool. And,
well, let's talk about these surprises. Let's talk about these things that,
let's talk about Insidious.
Yeah.
I think we've yeah. Let's talk about the movie.
Yeah.
So we know that and let's go through the characters really fast. Okay. We got Josh is played by Patrick Wilson, which is cool because he's also in the Conjuring series.
Yeah.
We have Renee, which is I think it's Rose Byrne.
Rose Burns.
There's the son is Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
We have the other son is Foster, but he's not a real main. He's
kind of a side character.
He's kind of a side character. He's there. Elise is played by Lynn Shay. She's the medium. Yeah. And then we have Specs.
Yeah.
Which, side note, he actually wrote the screenplay for this movie.
Oh, did he?
I didn't know this until last night.
You know what, by the way, I love the interaction between he and the bigger guy.
Him and Tucker.
Oh
my God, dude.
They crack me up.
These guys are awesome.
Like in the one scene when he pulls out the flashlight and then Tucker pulls out a bigger flashlight.
Oh, yeah.
That's
dude,
so funny.
the interaction between these guys. I will say this. If I could use that nickname Specs, I would totally use it, because, let everyone know I wear glasses and my eyes are terrible. And I got these big, what do we call them? Coke bottle glasses.
Oh, they're full blown Coke bottle glasses. Now they're not round. I mean, at least you've got some style to yours, but they are.
I wish I could start going by the nickname of Specs.
Well,
but
you know what? You just need to start doing it.
I can't. It's a total ripoff of this movie.
I'm gonna start calling you Specs.
And then we got Lorraine is Josh's mother.
Yeah. Now that's Barbara Hershey.
Hershey, yeah.
She was on The Entity.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that.
She was the woman that was
great movie.
Yeah. That movie freaked me out. I think the subject matter. I think it was the mashup of Ghost and rape. I hate to say word.
Well, that's what was happening.
I mean, that was
because I don't think you could do that today.
I mean, you could. You just got to do it in a certain way. I mean,
I mean, Donovan and I talked about this before. We've noticed in these, like I would say, late 70s to mid to late 80s movies, they do a lot of stuff that I don't know would fly today.
It was just accepted back then.
Yeah.
I think that as generations
Yeah.
roll along, I think
Oh,
people
man.
have less tolerance to
Yeah.
certain
People-
lines that you
yeah.
might cross. You know?
Today, I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but people are so sensitive. Yeah,
It's true.
they're so sensitive today, and
Yeah.
Entity is one we should do down the road.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Oh,
that
my
one is
God.
a great movie, and it does, man. That one scared the crap out of me.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
Anyways.
so we've laid down the all the characters. We know that the family has moved into this new house. It's not explained on why they moved into this new house, but I caught this last night.
Okay.
They're sitting in bed, and she goes, things are going to be different here. What the hell does she mean by that? Did something like this happen? Not necessarily the thing with Dalton, but did other things happen in the past?
Yeah, I don't know.
Was that? It's been a while since I've seen part 2.
Okay.
And I know you just watched
I
part 2.
just did.
Did
Yeah.
they talk about that? No.
Not
Okay.
really.
So
No.
so maybe it's just I don't know what she meant by that. Like maybe it was.
So I think, so obviously we've seen them all. I'm not sure if you've seen the very last Insidious.
I did. I saw it one time. That's the key.
Okay,
Is that
the
the
key,
key?
yeah.
The key? Well, I forget what it's called.
So none of the sequels even touched on that. So what I really think is going on there is, that line is meant to get the viewer to realize that, that's just, they moved to this new place, and it's just kind of like a fresh start kind of thing. Not
Okay.
necessarily that, bad stuff has been occurring,
Okay, yeah.
although, so Josh, his character, he seemed to be painted as, I don't know, like a husband or a father that kind of is not very engaged.
Yes, he's very distant, and yes, engaged is probably the perfect word. Yes, I mean, for the first first half, 3/4 of this movie, he's always at his school. I mean, he's a teacher.
Yeah.
So he's always at school, and we see a scene of him, like, I don't know, taking a nap there while his wife is dealing with all of this.
So-
He's kind of an a-hole.
Kind of.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
not even kind of. He kind of really is.
Yeah.
And so perhaps it was a little bit of that. Perhaps that sort of disengagement in the family
Yeah.
was occurring. And so, like all families do, they think that everything is going to be great if you can just shake things up and move to
And
another
move
place
to a
and
new-
then poof, happy
Yes.
marriage again.
Yeah.
And
True.
so, and I think in her mind, she's maybe thinking, all right, fresh start. Things are going to be better now.
Yeah,
We're in this
yeah.
like creepy house.
Yeah, we're in this creepy house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we immediately get this. We know she's a composer.
Mm-hmm.
I
love her music, by the way.
Yeah, her music
Yeah.
is cool.
It's
I
very
do.
good.
I dig her music. And he's a teacher. Looks like high school. He doesn't say it, but the kids look like they're in high school.
Oh, yeah.
And we have this, they just moved in and they got boxes everywhere and they're slowly unpacking. But we get Dalton, this first foreshadowing, or this, he comes downstairs in his pajamas and he immediately tells his mom, I don't like my room.
Yeah, it was interesting. They have literally the same set of pajamas on.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. I
It's
mean,
probably
it's
just
kind of goofy.
consistency.
It's kind
I
of
don't know
goofy.
why they
I don't know.
It's weird.
Kind of goofy, but whatever.
Yeah.
Do you ever come across anyone that wears pajamas? I mean, look, I know that's an odd question, right? Because how often are you ever around someone when they're getting ready to go to bed?
Right.
But look, dude, in my almost 50 years, I can't say I've ever really come across anybody at any time, no matter what the hell I was, that wear pajamas like that.
I think we need to define pajamas.
Well, I can tell you my pajamas. My pajamas are t-shirt and shorts. But some people,
Right.
I mean, these pajamas are like from head to. It reminds me of the ones we maybe wore as a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
That is exactly what they are.
are they almost like, what are those thermals? But more like current, like
Well, less form fitting. They're more.
yeah, yes, yeah,
Yeah. Like they're like basically cotton.
yeah.
And it's like, I can remember a kid, wearing pajamas like that, literally a kid, but only as a kid. I think I was maybe 8 years old when I was wearing those things.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, like it freaked me out, because they're cotton.
Yeah.
And then I had the blanket.
Oh, dude,
and
no.
dude, it caused static.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll never forget, like one night I fluffed the covers to turn over and I saw blue sparks under
yeah.
Dude,
Totally.
it freaked me out, dude.
Oh my God.
I ran into my parents' room.
You're like, oh, there's a ghost underneath.
It's the blue spark ghost. my mom was like, the hell?
Yeah.
She comes in, she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look.
Yeah.
And
they're like, come on, dude.
yeah, they're like, static.
Yeah.
Go to bed.
Yeah. I just don't see anyone. I'm sure people wear them. I'm sure people wear them. I don't wear them. Dude, to me, I'm a t-shirt and I'm shorts. I don't like a lot of stuff on me, man. I feel like claustrophobic or constricted or something.
Yeah.
And
well, not to freak anybody out, but I'm a buck naked guy.
Oh, I
can't do clothing in the bed.
No. So, I mean, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this.
No, I know, right? We move on quickly.
But you guys just, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I know there's a lot of people that do that. I know some people will just they just sleep in the drawers, or I don't know. If you're a woman, you may just sleep in your bra and your panties. Yeah. I don't know.
It's too constricting for me. I just, and plus it's like spent like 16 hours of the day or whatever, in clothing. It's like the last thing I want to do is like put on clothes so I can jump in bed. I don't, but
that's interesting because it's funny because while this pandemic is happening, and I don't know what month we're on now it all seems to kind of run into
blurring together.
It's all blurring together. Yeah. I can't tell you the last time I wore a pair of pants or even shoes.
Oh God.
I wear shorts and I wear flip-flops wherever I go. I don't even care if it's raining outside. Yeah. I'm throwing flip-flops on. Yeah. I don't know, man. I've always been like that, but this pandemic has made it worse because there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do.
Half of those who are employed are working from home.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so probably more information than the listeners.
Sorry, listeners.
That's okay. I don't know. These are the things, listeners, that makes us different from all those other horror podcasts.
Right. We're talking about our sleeping habits.
This, like I said, Dalton doesn't like his room.
Nope.
And then we start seeing little things that start happening. The wife's sheet music is nowhere to be found, and books on the shelves are falling off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does she put books on the shelf and then like the next morning they're on the
ground, or it's either the next morning or and of course she blames the kids. Well, blame the kids, and they're like, look, we didn't do that shit.
Right. Books,
please. Yeah, I know. Come on, we got other things to do here. We're gonna play with trains and shit and whatever else. But Legos, I don't know what they play with. She can't find her sheet music anywhere. She talks to Josh and he's like, I don't know where the hell it's at. We packed it.
Yeah.
Well, I've gone through every box, and of course she finds it up there in the attic. Yeah. And this is an interesting because she's hearing, we're getting like little things here and there. We're getting a little bit of sounds and kind of creaky stuff, but nothing major yet. And then she goes to the attic to investigate. Why did she go up there? Did she just hear a noise?
I think she heard a noise.
She heard like a voice, right, or something like that. Was it through the? I know that she had went upstairs because she thought she had heard something through the.
So it was the baby monitor thing, and was it in that scene when, as she's hearing the whispering and the voices through the baby monitor, doesn't the voice all of a sudden like get all harsh?
Yes.
And like,
oh yes, dude, that scared the hell out of me.
I don't remember what the voice said, but
I can't remember what it said.
It suddenly raised its voice and like very pointedly.
You just hear whisperings at first. And you're like, okay, am I hearing what I'm hearing? Because, like I think even the husband says, sometimes those baby monitors pick up noises. But no, it became super clear. I don't remember what the voice said, but it was loud and it was abrupt and it was like, ugh. And it had some.
Prompted her to run up there, I believe.
She did. And I think she grabbed the baby, was crying and stuff. But anyway, she makes her way into this attic where she turns on the light, and of course it requires a ladder. And again, I like these little things. It's where, the one of the legs on the ladder breaks, or steps, or whatever you call it.
Right.
And so we know that's going to come into play down the road, but she finds her sheet music, so it's these little things, nothing major yet, but it's building up. And then we have, and dude, what is it up with? And I think this was intentional, but these grandfather clocks, don't these just spank of eeriness, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they focused on that grandfather clock.
They do.
In each home, it was like almost like the centerpiece of spookiness,
Yeah, I mean, like, of any inanimate object, I can't think of a more apt object to be possessed or to have some kind of evil in it than a grandfather clock.
Yes, man. It's like anytime I watch a movie, or especially a ghost story, it's like, okay, where's the grandfather? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. It's there. Shit's gonna go south.
Kind of makes me want to get one.
They're pretty cool looking.
They are.
What I thought when they were in that second house and it was in that hallway, it would just fit. It looked awesome. It was just like this powerful image. And I'm like, yeah, that would be kind of cool to get one.
I mean, wouldn't that be awesome to get a grandfather clock?
Yes.
People come over and you'd be like, they're like, well, where can I put my coat? Oh, next to my grandfather clock.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, I don't think so, dude. I've seen too many weird movies.
Right. Seriously. So the big pendulum is all swinging. Then all of a sudden it like stops.
Oh my God. Oh, that would be cool. We like rig it to stop.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's never happened before.
We're going to go now.
Scare the shit out of
It's
people.
nice to see you.
Yeah. Because it does. It always stops in those movies, right? It's, it always stops like at a certain time and then it comes into play later on.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen here. But anyways, grandfather clocks are cool, man. I may have to try to, I don't know, maybe.
Gotta get down on it.
Maybe I have to get one. I just got to figure out where I would put that thing. Where would it work, But anyways, so we're starting to see little things that are starting to build up. We have a scene where Dalton's on the stairs and he's playing. I think he's playing with like some toy shark and a sword, and of course that attic door opens. And, and he goes to investigate. And sorry, man, I don't care how old I am. I'm not going up in that attic. It ain't happening.
Nope.
I've been very clear on this podcast. Look, I can talk about it and I can watch these movies, but if this shit happens in real life, I'm out.
Seriously.
I'm not going to investigate unless I got like a few people with me. Especially as a kid in this new house, and weird things are starting to happen. And so he goes to investigate. He sees, he falls off of the ladder, but he sees something to make him freak out, and he screams. The parents run up there to check on him and stuff, and he doesn't really say anything, but we get this bump on the head, and he goes to bed, but they go to wake him up in the morning, and they're calling it kind of like they just don't know. He's kind of like in a coma, but he's not in a coma. They can't explain it.
Yeah, the doctors can't explain it.
They can't explain it. It's like there's no trauma to his brain. He seems perfectly fine, but he's asleep. Can't wake up. And so they I think they fast forward 3 months, and
I think so. He's now at home. Obviously, he's no longer in the hospital, but they have a nurse that comes occasionally and is showing the family how to put the tube.
Really, the mother, because
obviously,
the dad is checked out, man.
Yeah.
He's a teacher, and just, I don't know, man. He can't deal with it.
Nope.
So his way of dealing with it is just staying at school until.
And he says as much.
Yeah.
During one of the scenes
he
when
does.
She's trying to convince him that there's stuff going down in that house, and he explains as much that, look, I process this the way I process it, with not necessarily an excuse, but he does at least address it.
He does. Did you notice, and this is the scene I was telling you about earlier, did you notice the little Easter egg in the classroom?
No. So
So on the chalkboard on the far left is a drawing of Billy the puppet from Saw.
Oh, no, I didn't notice that.
Right above it is people that worked on the movie Saw, including James Wan's name.
Interesting.
Yeah. They were trying to pass it off, like, like, hey, this is your assignment for.
Yeah.
Yeah. His name, I hadn't caught it before.
Huh.
Yeah, I thought it was
I'll have
kind
to
of cool.
look
I'm
for
like,
that.
is that the puppet from Saw?
Interesting.
Yeah, I was there. But anyways, that was like the little Easter egg I found. I'm sure
Okay.
there's other ones, but
Yeah.
that was the one I noticed. But so we know that. So Dalton is at home. He's sleeping, whatever this is. And they still got they got the little baby girl, and they got Foster, and Foster looks like a few years younger. But he starts, there's this, I think there's a scene in the bedroom where she's tucking Foster into bed, and he like gets an award from school, but of course he doesn't say anything. I think it's because at this point everything's really kind of about Dalton and everything that's happening,
Yeah.
And the mother is engaging with him, and he says something about, can I change rooms?
Yeah, this scene kind of freaked me out.
This scene freaked me out too. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? And he says something like, what, I don't like it when Dalton
he gets up.
He gets up during
and
the
walks
night.
around.
Fuck that, dude. That's scary.
And the thing is, like, their rooms are right across from each other, and doors are like both open, and so this poor kid is under his covers looking up down the hallway, and he sees his brothers sitting there comatose, and I can only imagine,
oh my god,
this Dalton kid getting up, walking around, and his brother like going, oh my god,
what the fuck. And of course the parents just chalk this up to whatever, like, oh, his imagination is running wild. And dude, there's that scene where he wakes up. I don't even know if he was asleep, but he gets up, and he looks, and he can see Dalton, and he goes to close the door.
Yes.
And you can hear the like footsteps. Dude, I'm shitting bricks right now, man. I'm like, I'm coming to sleep with mom and dad.
Yeah. But I mean, he did the next thing I would have done, which is to, run as fast as I can down the hallway and like dive into my bed with the cover.
Yes, dude, I would be putting stuff in front of the door. I don't know, man. That is some freaky shit.
Yeah.
That's freaky.
Yeah.
So we're seeing, we're getting these kind of, I don't know, they're starting to become bigger and bigger elements to this, right? We're starting to, we got the scene, of course, we talked about with the mother hearing the voices over the baby monitor, and, and we got, what scene do we have? I know there's a scene where she goes up into the baby's bedroom. Because I know we still did we get to the part yet where there's the alarm goes off in the house.
Oh,
and it's loud. It's the alarm to the house.
I think that happens first.
Does it happen first? So Renee grabs, she goes into Dalton's room with the rest of the kids while Josh goes to investigate. And like typical fashion, I'm going to grab a poker from Fireplace Poker. Right. That seems to be the thing.
Sure.
Did people not have like bats or something?
I don't know,
man. But anyways, he's, he hears I think there was a knocking at the door, and then there's no one there. And then he sets the alarm, and then the alarm goes off, and the door is wide open, and the lock is kind of broken off. Those little old school chains. I don't even know if people use those anymore. So you're getting these buildup of things, how do you even explain that? I mean, to me, I would probably look, if I hear a knocking and then the alarm goes off and the door's wide open, I'm calling the authorities. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't know, but anyways.
Yeah.
So, but then there's explain the scene. What builds up to this scene where she sees this image in the baby's room.
Yeah. I think she is trying to convince her husband that there's these things that she's seeing, and she just can't talk sense into him.
Yeah.
He just is kind of checked out, and and I think it's not long after that she's either down. Okay, so I think what it was. Didn't she hear
the baby crying?
Didn't she hear her piano? Didn't she hear like her piano going? Isn't that what prompted her to come downstairs? And
shit, I don't remember that part.
I thought so.
Really?
I think so. Something prompted her to go downstairs. Okay. And then when she comes back upstairs and she goes by the baby's room, and she looks in, the camera pivots to face there's the face behind and I think like it's in the window.
It is it almost looks like it's outside of the house, but in the window. And that, oh man.
Oh yeah. That freaked her out immediately. If she's screaming,
that freaked me out,
I think at that point, Josh,
he comes in, of course, he doesn't see anything.
Yeah.
And it's like it's all these things that she seems to be experiencing. And he's just,
I think the piano thing is the second Insidious.
Because rewatching that last night, I don't remember that.
I think the second one.
Insidious okay. And it's been a while since I've seen the sequel, but
something prompts her to go downstairs.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Probably noises or
probably. Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but I know she went up. And then she sees that, and of course, he doesn't see anything, and then, it's all these. I don't know if there's a ton of other things that are happening before she. There's a scene where he comes home late. There's a scene where she's talking with the nurse, and you could just tell she's beat down.
Oh yeah.
She's exhausted from this, and she's getting absolutely no help. She's basically raising 3 kids by herself, a baby.
Yep.
And the husband is checked out. And so she, the nurse is explaining something to her. They're having some sort of conversation, and the nurse leaves, and she's tucking, she's getting all the bedding kind of organized for Dalton, and she sees this handprint. This red creature-like handprint.
Yeah,
of course.
It's like on a white sheet.
On a white sheet, man. And so husband finally comes home at like 10, 11 o'clock from school.
Oh, that's right.
From grading papers.
Yeah, and aren't they out on the porch?
They're out on the porch, they I don't know, there's this conversation back and forth, and then she throws the sheet at him and says something like, deal with this or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's,
because it was that scene that he was trying to explain. Look, I deal with stress in a different way, or my own way, or whatever.
Yeah. It's like, whatever, dude.
Because she thinks that he's not affected at all by this. And he's trying to say, no, look, I am affected by it. I just deal with it differently. So suck it.
Yes. Yeah. And so he sleeps on the couch because,
because he's being a
dick
completely.
And so this is where we get the scene in the bedroom where she's laying in bed, and we start to see this figure that's pacing back and forth outside. It's like she doesn't catch it right away, and then sees it.
Oh my God.
And again, such an effective scene.
It's a great transition.
It is, dude.
Going from pacing outside, and then he turns around and starts going, and then when he turns around again, suddenly he's inside that damn room.
Fuck, dude, that scared the hell out of me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that scared the hell out of me, man. And so, she's, of course, freaking out. This thing starts, this person, whatever this is, this, like I don't know, this
just
whatever,
an evil
demon,
spirit.
whatever.
I don't think it's a demon. It's just a ghost.
Just
it's
a spirit.
An evil spirit.
Yeah,
thing,
and it starts to attack her, and of course she freaks out. She's screaming and yelling, and Josh comes up, and of course there's no one there.
Yeah.
And she's like, man, I can't do this anymore. We need to move.
We are out.
Yes. And so, they do.
Yep.
They move. They move out of this house thinking that everything that is transpiring, that she's experiencing, has to do with this house. Something. I mean, right? It's feasible. I would think the same thing.
Yeah.
And so they move to this house that we had talked about earlier on. It looks like just a regular old house.
Yep.
Nice little quaint house in a subdivision.
In the suburbs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thinking, okay, we've gotten away from the problem. And shortly after they move in, I think there's a quote, it's not the house that's haunted.
Yeah.
I think it's like a tagline from the movie.
Yeah.
And no. It's following you. It's not the house. Well, go ahead.
Some interesting things, again, with the whole layering of different things that you might see, or maybe you don't see the first watch through. When they go to that house and she's, I don't know, she's doing laundry or she's putting stuff away.
She's picking up.
She walks through like the laundry area and there's that little boy standing like.
So interesting. The first time I watched it, didn't catch it. Didn't catch it.
Yeah.
Didn't catch it until the next time I watched it.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
It's great because most people, if you're not paying attention, you're just, it almost could look like it's a, I don't know, it's a coat rack and it's on the wall and it's hanging up.
Yeah.
You see a coat, you see a hat, and it's almost like they're in timeout staring, against the wall. So it's easily missed.
Yeah. And really what you're trying to do is, or what I think they want you to do is focus on the character.
Yes.
Because she doesn't, it's like on that scene, she doesn't start that, or the scene doesn't start with her walking through there. Like she's putting away stuff. So they're essentially following her around the house as she's putting stuff away.
Yes.
And she makes her way back around and through that. So by the time that scene occurs, you're really just used to fixating on paying attention to her as she's walking. Yeah. So it's easy to miss.
It really is.
Little boys, standing against them.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
know.
And so she goes out. I think she goes out to throw some trash away. I think she rolls out. And of course, the one of the windows into kind of like the living room area is I don't know if the window itself is open, but we know
because the curtains are like kind of blowing.
Yeah. And so and she looks inside and of course she sees this figure, and
it's the boy.
It's the boy, and he's dancing to some old like
40s
1920s
music,
or 30s music. Very fitting for the look of this boy.
Yeah.
And
he's got the knickers on.
Yeah. Just they did a great job with this. Everything is just fitting for, and he's doing this dance, and she comes in and he's gone but he's almost playing this kind of hiding,
well, that's exactly what he's
playing
doing.
hide and seek with her. And she, he's running throughout the house and she can't seem to find him. And she goes into one of the bedrooms where the little, what's that little, is it almost like a seesaw, or what is that little thing called? It's like a rocking horse.
Yeah.
And that's always, it's almost like a kind of a trope thing.
Oh,
you've seen this in other movies.
Oh, yeah.
But I love it. And so the horse is moving by itself as, and so she finally follows this boy to Dalton's room in this, what are those things? Like a big cabinet or almost like a hutch or something?
Yeah, it's a hutch.
It's a hutch.
Mm-hmm.
And so he ends up jumping out, and
she sees the
feet, right?
The shoes.
But when she goes to, there's nothing there.
No, because he's up on the shelf above the shoes, and he's kind of crouched there, like,
But yeah, he's just, it's he's just playing a game of hide and seek with her. It's fun to him, but she's shitting her pants.
Yeah,
man,
she's building log cabins in her shorts.
Yeah, it's so yeah, it's these, it's like, look, she realizes, look, it's, of course it wasn't the house. It's she doesn't realize it's Dalton until when we find this out later, but it's just, oh my God. So, she, I'm trying to remember if other little things are happening, or is it just simply, look, something isn't right. I'm going to call a priest. And, so when Josh comes home,
she calls, it's Josh's mom.
Okay.
She talks to Josh's mom.
And that's Lorraine.
And Lorraine is the one, obviously, who knows kind of,
she crap. Does. At first, she doesn't say anything.
No.
Because I remember Renee saying something about how, I forget the exact wording, but it's, Lorraine says, look, whatever you have to deal with, I'm supportive of you, and we're all,
Yeah.
And so, but you can just sense that she knows something. Why in the hell did you say something before?
Well,
I mean, come on, because Lorraine probably knows something's happened at the previous house. Are these things similar to what happened?
Well, it's the history.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not of, obviously we don't have a choice, but to sort of jump forward a little bit here. But, but I think that's exactly what's happened. So she tells Josh's mom, Lorraine.
Yeah.
Tells her about what's been going on. Lorraine flashes right back to events.
Yeah.
When
Josh was a kid.
Josh was a kid.
Yeah. Like Dalton's age, I would say, maybe a little older. I don't know.
Maybe right around the same age. Obviously went through great lengths to get that under control. And I think there's a tiny bit of like, oh God, you know what I mean? On Lorraine's part. So I don't think she in the moment necessarily wants to, or.
Yeah. Maybe I hate to say this, but maybe it needed to escalate to this point before she finally, because maybe it wasn't, I could chalk it up to this or that, but maybe when it finally got to this.
Well, I mean,
oh man.
Yeah. But I got the impression though that she didn't go to Josh's mom right away, that like all of those events that were occurring at the first house, none of that
was probably ever told to Lorraine.
No, I think that it was only when they moved, and obviously
had to explain the move.
Followed them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it was only at that point because, right? Okay. You're in a house, right? Poltergeist activity starts to occur. Okay. You finally get to a point you can't take it anymore. You're done. You move, right? The idea of moving is in your mind the answer.
Yeah.
Right? If we could just get out of this house, our life will get back to normal. They go and they go to a whole nother house and boom. Like all of those previous events are occurring in this house, which, light bulb goes on. Obviously, this thing has followed us. Now, where do you go? Yeah. And I think it was at that point that she was desperate.
Yeah. Because I know Josh comes home and there's a priest there.
Yes.
And the priest is literally there for a second and really plays no role into this thing.
No, not really. No.
I think it was her way of trying to come up with some sort of answers I don't know how strong their faith was.
Wasn't it Josh's mom who
called the priest?
Or was it her?
I thought it was her, but I'm not positive on that.
Okay.
Josh comes home to this, he cracks a joke, and she's explaining to him, look, this shit is still happening, man.
Yeah.
And it's hard to convince him of anything.
Yeah.
It takes a lot as we see, as we go along with this movie. But, I think we get this scene where Lorraine is she's sitting, I don't know if they're in the kitchen and they're sitting down. I can't remember if it's the kitchen or the living room, but she's explaining to them, like, I had this dream last night, and she's starting to paint this picture of what transpired in this dream, and it's, oh my God, this is great. But she's walking down the hallway, and of course we get the old grandfather clock, and she goes into to Dalton's room, and it's this, and how would you call this almost this dream world? It's almost has like this color to it. I don't know if it's like what would you call it? Not like almost like a duotone to it, but it has this very, I don't know. I can't explain the color to you, but it's not necessarily duotoned. What it is, it's desaturated a little. Desaturated. Yeah. To convey this almost this dream state, but this alternate kind of, I don't know, world, that this place they call, that we're gonna hear later on called the Further. But she goes into this. She goes and she's telling this story, and she goes into.
But it does have a blue cast. Sorry to interrupt.
A blue cast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a little desaturated. Back.
Yeah. And so she goes into Dalton's room in this dream, and she sees this demon. She sees this figure. It's almost like this shadow, and I don't know if she calls it a demon, but we see it in this corner.
Yeah,
and it's just.
She asks it, what are you doing here, or what do you want? And he like points with that creepy finger.
fucking long. I love this imagery. I am a sucker for long, bony arms and fingers. It's just so fucking menacing.
Yeah.
And it's this slow way of pointing to him. It's goddamn, it scares the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And she's explaining this to them. And look, we already know Renee's on board. She's experienced on this. Josh, we're trying to convince him. And so she's telling them this and then explaining to him, these things, that I don't know if it's at this point that she says, look, shows him. I don't think she shows him the pictures yet. Does she show him the pictures yet? I don't think so. I think that's down the road, but she does see the demon behind him.
Well, so it was the demon behind him, or was it behind?
No, it was behind
his
him.
mom.
No, it was behind him, because
that's right.
Renee and Lorraine see it and they freak out.
Oh yeah,
and it's
I did too.
Oh my god, I freak out. I'm like,
that face, dude.
That face, and what's awesome about what James Wan does is most scares are done at night.
Mm-hmm.
He does this during the day.
Yeah.
In a kitchen.
Yeah.
It's all lit up.
Broad daylight.
And I'm like, holy
you don't
shit.
expect that.
You don't expect it. And it's, oh my God, it's great.
And it's like only half of his face.
Only half of his face. And I was looking this up. They call him the lipstick face demon, which I just thought, I was like, couldn't you come up with a better name?
Lame.
Their idea was this demon takes lipstick and is drawing all over his face. So that's why you're seeing this red. But I'm like, lipstick face demon. Could you come up with something cooler than that?
I'm going to pretend that isn't a thing.
That's what they call him. I think someone else was calling him like the red fire face or fire something. I always kind of like that better. But,
yeah.
So I don't know if, I know we're leading up to Tucker and Specs showing up to the house to do their thing.
Yeah.
And these guys are great.
They are awesome.
The interaction
well,
between,
they're really the only comedic
they are. Yeah.
part of this film.
Yeah. But
it's much needed.
It is much needed. And it's a lot of these movies, they have little bits of stuff like this throughout the movies, in different movies. And yes, it kind of needed this little break.
It did. And it's great because they're both vying for the affection of, the medium, which we'll be talking about soon, and so they're all trying to bolster their own self-importance.
They really are, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's cracking.
Like one job is better than the other, more important than the other.
Yeah.
And they're this little arguing back and forth. It's great, But at the same time, they're there to do, do their job, and
they're doing the preliminary
to make sure,
is this even a thing that's worthy to have the medium Elise come to?
Yeah. And so they, they're doing their thing. And of course, they have it's funny with all these movies, they have all this different equipment that picks up different things. And I don't know, it's some sort of activity. I don't know what electrical, stuff like that. And I loved his little, dude, what is that toy that we had as a kid?
Oh yeah.
What is the name of that?
You put in,
it's like a slide or something, right?
Yeah. You put in the round, and it has little cells.
Yeah.
And you click
the button and it moves
advanced it to the next.
I forget what the name of it is, but it was awesome. It's like you bring back this old toy that we.
Oh God, now I feel like I need to look that up.
Yeah, look it up while I'm chatting. But you're introducing this toy, and I had one of these as a kid, man. I don't know how old these toys are, but I had one, and the fact that you're bringing this and introducing this to us in this movie and using it to detect ghosts or entities, is friggin' brilliant,
Oh, it was called the Viewmaster.
The Viewmaster.
Yeah.
Dude, those are awesome, man. I got to get one of those.
Yeah.
I'm sure they still have those around,
Oh, yeah.
right? You know?
You can get them on Amazon.
Oh, man, we got to get one of those. But anyways, Tucker uses this kind of altered Viewmaster.
It is, and it's all of these different spectrums of color.
Yeah.
You know, it's like infrared and ultraviolet and all these different spectrums.
Yeah, dude. And then so we get that scene in the hallway where he, we know it's coming, right? Even if you've never seen this movie, you know something's going to happen. It's this built up, and it's this, he clicks a slide and clicks a slide, and then it's like, oh shit, you know, and you got these, I don't even know what the hell they are. These women, this is what I love about this movie. He somehow makes these ghosts or these demons or these entities, whatever. I guess we could say that the demon is really this lipstick face one, but then these other ones are almost like ghosts that are attaching. They're hovering around Dalton, but he makes them look old, like almost like relics.
Yeah.
Do you notice that? Like almost like dolls.
What I also love that he does is it's the still framing.
Yes.
You know, where it's like the camera will fixate on the ghost and it's sitting there like a mannequin.
Yes.
And then there'll be like a still frame where it changes and like has some creepy look on its face.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh my God. I love it. I love this stuff. I've seen this in other movies, but the way he does it, I mean, we'll see it later on, and not too long from now in when Josh goes to the further, but it's just, these Tucker freaks out. He's like, let's, I think it's time for Elise to get here.
Right.
And she comes in and she's this, she's this, and I forget what the woman's name is in Poltergeist, but she's this, I mean, this is what I was talking about. This has so much Poltergeist all over it. She's this medium, and she's like the version of this. I forget what the the character's name. This house is clean. I forget what her character's name, but this is her. This is Insidious's version of her.
Yeah.
And she comes in and she's walking through the house and she gets.
What I love about her, and when they first introduce her right in here, is that for once you finally feel like, there's, I don't know, what's the word? Not an authority figure, but there's, she comes in and she completely takes charge. You feel for once that someone knows how to maybe handle this.
Yes. Some sort of resolution is imminent. She's gonna help us, and she does. She has this, and she's super polite. May I look around your house?
Oh, very, very, very nice, like presence. About her.
She is, and so she, she does her thing. She walks around the house. She goes to Dalton's room, and she sees this demon, and of course, Specs is drawing. Damn good job, by the way.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Like I would almost, Tucker needs to step up his game because Specs has got that. He's sketching. He
does, yeah.
It seems like he's got a little more, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyways, I can't think of what I want to say, but responsibility.
Yeah.
That Tucker does. Tucker needs to step it up a little bit. Some of his stuff is cool, but his Specs is, he's drawing, he's doing these other,
because it's their division of labor. And I think what's going on is the Tucker character is all about the technology. That's what he's doing, is all the technology needed in order to capture this stuff, where Specs is Elise's interpreter.
Yes.
And like is the person who is documenting.
It's right on the money, because we see it later on during the seance. But she sees this figure above Dalton's bed above him.
We don't see it.
We don't see it.
She's describing it to Specs.
She sees it.
Yeah.
And she's describing it, and she's drawing it out, and then Renee runs over to grab it, because they aren't seeing anything.
Yeah.
I think they even turn on the light.
She does turn on the light. Yeah.
And so you see this menacing evil demon, this all black and a red face, and you know, and so they sit down in the living room, and Lisa finally explains to them, look, this is the deal here.
Yeah.
You know, I thought maybe we had some time. We don't.
Yeah.
This demon is aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And now at this point, Dalton's been in this kind of sleep or whatever for 3 or 4 months.
She explains finally what's happening here. It's not really a sleep. It's not a coma. It's astral projection.
Yeah, which is a cool idea, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't know.
It's a thing.
It is a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's been done in any movies.
None that I can think of, but for sure, that is a thing. Like, astral projection.
It's awesome. Like, she explains Dalton has this gift.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to explain? You want to explain what that?
Essentially, you're able to, it's not quite asleep. It's not quite awake. It's kind of an in-between, like when you're getting ready to go to sleep and you're sort of that in-between sleep and wake, that state. You're able to, I don't know, your spirit energy or whatever is you're able to pull yourself out of your body, and you can float around and look at your body and go places.
Yeah. And kind of adventure off. And that's what
I had experiences when I was a kid with that, which we won't get into here, but,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're going to have to tell me about that.
I'll tell you all about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we find out that Dalton's quite good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done it a little too much. And he's wandered off into a place that Elise is going to be, she calls the further. And what's happening is once you do this, you open yourself up to some sort of demons or spirits, and they're
well, it's the further, or the longer your spiritual body is away from your physical body, the link between the two gets weaker.
Yes.
And
you become more vulnerable to
your body becomes more vulnerable because the link between your spirit and your body, the longer you're out of your body, starts to weaken. And it's in that weakened state that allows demons and ghosts and whatever to
kind of take over your shell. I mean, that's what they're,
Yep.
And so that's what we had been seeing throughout this movie are these, the one major one is like we refer to as the lips. I don't want to giggle, but it's funny. The lipstick face demon. This is the powerful one. Yeah. This is the one that ain't fucking around.
No.
He is all about business here.
Yeah.
And so he has a hold and a grasp on Dalton. And so Elise explains, to the family, more so Josh, that, she has experience with this, and Josh, you do as well. You don't remember this. So
was it during this scene that she explains this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because she's trying to let them know, more so Josh, this is serious, man.
Yeah.
This demon is close and we don't have much time here. And she is trying to do whatever she can to convince him. Of course, he's not believing most of this, but, they start showing mom is there. So we really have just about everyone there. I think the only one that isn't there is the baby girl and Foster.
Yeah.
Everyone else is there. And Elise is explaining, the mother really starts to explain, you experienced this when you were about Dalton's age.
Yeah, she pulls out pictures.
Pictures that she had she threw in a box and she hid away. And it's this, and it's of when Josh was a kid and photographs that were being taken of him. And it was an image of it's supposed to be a woman, but they really never say, it looks like a woman.
Looks like
I was watching some special features and they actually, the person who played this was a man. Mm-hmm. They wanted it to have this certain look, and it did, it really did.
Yeah.
But to me, it looks like almost like a witch, almost like a witch, and almost like she maybe was in some sort of like old, I don't know, old like wedding dress or something, but just very
absolutely looks like a wedding dress. Yeah. It's just black
with veils and stuff. And so this, when Josh was a kid, this ghost or this spirit or whatever was following him. And as the pictures were being taken,
because he was also a very accomplished astral projector.
Yes, and this is where Dalton gets the skill or whatever you want to call it, this gift. Yeah. And so as he was doing it as a kid, these this spirit would get closer and closer to him. And so, Lorraine, Josh's mother, called this is when she called Elise. And so they have experience with this. Josh doesn't remember any of this.
Yeah, because they hypnotized him to forget
all of this,
and never took his picture ever again.
Yes,
which is, I guess they mention the reason why he hates having his picture taken.
Exactly, it's because of this. So Lorraine and Elise have laid down this foundation to Josh, and he's still not on board. We have to do something now, but he just, sorry. I'm sorry. I want to believe you. I moved houses for you, but this stuff is a little far-fetched.
Yeah. He says a certain thing. This cracked me up. I don't remember now what exactly he says, but he says it in a way that is very obviously that he is shutting this down. And there was like this big pregnant pause, and then Elise finally was like, okay, well, have a good day and good luck with that. And,
it was so cold, man. To me, it was very cold.
It was, but it was appropriate because she recognized right then and there that there was nothing that anybody was going to say after that in that moment that was going to convince him that this is a thing. And so she just,
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I thought it was funny.
It was. And so, of course, Renee is, what is Renee going to do? She's frustrated. She's exhausted. She's at her wit's end. I think this point is when Josh goes into Dalton's room and he has this moment with him and he's upset and, talk to me, it's almost like, give me a sign. I want to believe this, but I can't. And then the drawing. Yeah. The drawing
of the wall. Yeah.
What's crazy is there's all these drawings that are on his board of everything that has been transpiring, and the parents never paid attention to it.
But you don't really, right?
You don't.
You live your life. You're doing your thing. Your kids draw a million things. You don't always
they throw them on.
They
throw them on the fridge, and
because out of context, and none of it. You're not going to make sense of any of it. It could just be the random imagination of a kid.
Well, I think there's the one drawing where he looks like he's drawn himself as a superhero,
and that just,
but it's his
out of context. That's just superhero, Superman.
Yeah. And so, Josh starts looking at all these drawings, and here's the demon with the red face, and here's a door, and here's all these things, and he's like, okay.
So that was when he goes to Renee and basically says, "All right,
let's get her back here and do this."
Yeah.
And so they come back and they start setting everything up, and they do the tropey kind of seance, which we've seen in so many movies over the years.
Which I love, by the way, I do, because they introduced that gas mask. Oh my God!
This was their spin on this that I enjoyed, because I have seen this. I mentioned the Changeling. I think they've done it in the others. They probably didn't drag me. They've done it in so many movies. The only difference here is this weird old ass gas mask.
Yeah.
And I think really I think it was their way of like, how can we do this differently? Because it's the same kind of stuff. It's like, okay, I'm going to make contact with this demon or spirit, and I'm going to start saying stuff, and you're going to write it down or whatever it is.
Well, it makes a little bit of sense, given that they've adapted this gas mask to have a big tube coming out of the lip area of this gas mask, and they've fashioned it and connected it onto a headset.
Yeah, like Specs is.
It was a headset.
Yeah.
And specifically so that he can listen to her talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's writing this stuff down.
And he's writing it fast. And I've seen this, and we've seen this before. And I like this. And it's like you're just writing everything, and you're trying to write as fast as possible. And this is happening during this seance. And it's powerful, man. We see some of the stuff he's writing down, and all this, I think we might be seeing some flickering of lights and some of the stuff that Tucker has set up, these light, almost like these light.
It was these strobes.
Yeah.
He had them around the table.
Yeah.
And they would go off apparently when there was spectral energy or something.
And these things are popping like crazy, man. And then we get this, I think they turn to Dalton's bed and he's not there. And he's standing right next to them. And he does this, I don't even know what this, it almost reminded me of some superhero thing, you know, like some, he puts his hand down onto the table and it just kind of like this almost like magnetic field or something. It just kind of like shoots them everywhere, you know, shoots them across the room and stuff. And so there's that for a bit. There's this a lot of, you know, I think we get one of the spirits or ghosts that we saw earlier on, the one that was in Renee's, you know, the bedroom. I think we got him and there's a fight with him and we got all these different things happening here. A lot of stuff happening here. And then when it's all kind of said and done, the bedroom is destroyed completely. Don't know if they're getting their deposit back on this one. But, you know, Dalton's on the ground. He's still alive. He's still there. And I think there's this interaction between I think Tucker and Specs and he's like, look, man, we didn't catch anything, but here's this video. I caught this on the camera. Oh yeah, and he like still framed it. Yeah, and you could see the demon. It's basically attached to Dalton. It's kind of behind it's almost like Dalton's a puppet. Yeah, yes, right. Totally. Yeah, and so this is great, man. And so yeah, you know what they've basically have they come to the conclusion that look, Josh, you're going to have to go get him. Yeah. I am going to have to put you under. Yep. Through the kind of tropey pendulum thing, right? This is such a thing. I know. Have you ever like been hypnotized? Yeah, been hypnotized. Like, no. Does that? I just wonder. Like, I never want to like roll my eyes at something. I just wonder how real that is. Like you know, hypnotism is very real. It's you have to. The person being hypnotized has to be open to the suggestion of hypnosis. And I'm totally open to something like that. Yeah, it's an in the moment thing. Listen, you can say to me right now across this table that you're into it, but it's a headspace. So you sit down to be hypnotized. You have to be in a headspace to be susceptible to the suggestion of hypnosis, because otherwise you'll just sit there and not, you know what I mean? Yeah. You won't actually be in that. Yeah. What is the purpose of, and maybe you know, what is the purpose of a pendulum? Because, you know, I've seen it in other movies. So that's not a pendulum actually. Oh, that wasn't a pendulum? No, that's called a metronome. Oh, okay. What's the difference between the two? The metronome is to keep tempo when you're recording music. Oh, okay. Yeah. And so that's why it makes that. Okay. All right. Sound. You can actually set it a speed, you know, and it's, you know, depending on the speed you set, it's for keeping time when you're recording music. Okay. Okay. Or when you play piano. Yeah. Okay. A pendulum is simply a weighted object on the bottom of like maybe a string or something. Okay. You know, and when you move it and, you know, you drag it over to one side and you let go, it just swings back and forth. Okay. You know, what purpose does that serve? Well, people use pendulums for all sorts of things. Okay. So there's no set, you know, like rule of thumb for a pendulum. Like this is what it's, you know, cause I've seen it like in like, remember Elm Street 3, you know, when they're trying to go into the dream world, it's like the little, I think it's a pendulum, but who knows? And it's, you know, and they all use it and they're talking to kind of, you know, to fall asleep to get into this dream world, you know. And definitely that's a use for it. I mean, there's other uses for pendulums, and that is certainly a use for it as well as to hypnotize. Okay. It's just that
this movie, they used a metronome for whatever reason, which it's the same basic concept,
Yeah. I wonder if did they not pay attention to that? Maybe, I don't know.
No. That's an interesting, that should definitely be something to look up.
I'm
to
curious.
see if there's a thing behind why they used a metronome instead of like a pendulum. But, we could just be going in the weeds on this, and there's really nothing.
We probably are, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So Elise is basically hypnotizing or whatever, Josh.
Yeah.
Look, you're gonna have to astral project. You're gonna have to do something you haven't done since you were a little kid.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go get your son back. That's the only way.
Yep.
You can do this. You have experience with this, and so your son needs you, basically. And so she hypnotizes him. He thinks it isn't working. Of course, we get that muted kind of like you said, the desaturated color. So we know that he is now in this further.
Plus it's like pitch black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at first he does, that didn't work. And then he turns around and sees himself in the chair, sleeping or hypnotized. And so, okay, I'm here. And so he goes and ventures off, and he ends up back at their previous house.
Yep.
And
really quick, I'm sorry. What's awesome is, cause I've been around many people who, are psychic.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And the way he had to have researched, spoke with people who are, or whatever, because that particular scene is as it's explained to me by people that I've known in my life who are, the way that scene was shot is exactly how it's like. So when he is like, look, sorry, this isn't working, and then he kind of turns around and suddenly there's this realization that he's actually staring, Elise actually kind of turns her head, and says, talks to his astral projection.
Yes.
And that is what I've been, the few people in my life who have that ability, quote unquote, to do that, they explain it similarly.
Interesting.
Yeah. That when they're physically with somebody and they're attempting to give them a read or whatever, their bodies are physically there, but their mind is in a completely different state, communicating with.
That's awesome.
So he got that spot on.
See, those are those attention to detail that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Because you do your homework.
You do. And it really pays off.
Yeah.
Because it's those little tiny bits and pieces there that just make it like awesome. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's awesome. I love that. So he makes his way back to this house, and we start to see all these, I don't know, man, all these creepy ass things. And I love it because, again, like I had mentioned earlier, it's like you get these, he's just not sure what to make of these things. It's this, he knows he's in this further. You got this house, and it's dark and it's kind of foggy, and it has this different feel to it, this different tint to it. You got these people that he sees in this living room. Again, they look like dolls, man.
They do.
And they've almost dressed them in these. They fucking look like relics, like from the 20s or 30s, and it's so awesome, man. I can't explain how much I'm enjoying this. It is making me feel uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
Real uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he's walking through the living room, and you got this.
Well, what's great also on these scenes is that it's the lighting. God, you cannot underestimate lighting on a scene, because everywhere around on the peripherals is dark,
yeah.
Right. But he's holding that lantern.
Yes.
And that lantern is not like a warm light. It's really artificial. It's almost like some kind of fluorescent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, and the light is just bathing just that immediate area.
Yes.
Where there's dark all around it. And it's just such a creepy, like, it's yeah, it's just, I can't say enough.
It's like I was saying earlier, it's unsettling for me because I know things aren't right. I know something's going to happen, and it's that buildup of, okay, what is going on here? What are they going to do? What role do they play in this? And it's almost like this. I don't know. It's almost like we know they're there. It's almost like how do I explain it? It's like almost like a backdrop. They're creepy and they're scary, but we know that it's not them that we necessarily have to worry about, but they're still,
but yet maybe we do.
Yes.
And that, I think, is the reason that these are littered throughout the movie, is because we don't really know.
No, it's the unknown.
Exactly.
The unknown.
They
to
may
me
very well be a problem.
Yeah, but he almost goes about it like they're not. He's almost like he's curious, and he's looking at them, and they're sitting on, like, I think that this, we'll call her the mother. Mm-hmm. She's ironing, but they're almost frozen. And then there's like, it looks like a daughter.
Well, because Elise explains that even time has no meaning in the further. So, so I think it's a little bit of punctuating that, that here is this, essentially I interpreted it to mean he's walked into a moment in time.
Yes.
That's how I interpreted it.
I think you're right on the money.
Because essentially that was a moment in time, because wasn't the other ghost in the other room like loading the shotgun? Yeah.
Well, I think it's the point of view of the ghost is what we're seeing.
Yeah.
So he walks into this home and he's seeing the point of view of the ghost of maybe they're trapped in some sort of loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the immediate loop that we're seeing is this family and a husband and he's whistling, which is awesome. I love this. And then he's doing some more kind of, I don't know, investigating and venturing off into this house, and he sees this, it almost looks like another daughter.
Yep.
And she's got a shotgun and it's all these
loading it up.
Yeah. Loading it up, man. And that kind of reminded me a little bit of Amityville because And so then we see another scene where it's like, it's the family again, but it's in a, it's a different outcome. And it's maybe the loop that has transpired with these ghosts or these entities. And now they're stuck in this and they're playing this back essentially for his eyes.
Yeah.
And for us, the audience. Yeah. And that's what's
he's essentially wandered in to a snapshot of this family before murder.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just, I love it, man. I love the old 20s, 30s feel this.
Now that house,
I don't know.
What house was that? That
was the first house.
Was it? See,
yeah,
there you go. So
that's the first house. And so it's just, I don't know about you, man, but old, I love the look of stuff that's from the, I don't know. I could say in the early 1900s. Let's just call it the early 1900s.
Sure.
I love that look. I mean, it was, I don't remember if I think the others might've been I can't remember if it was the 1800s or 1900s, but I just love that old relic-y feel. Yeah. It's more, it has a more of a creepy feel to it. Yeah. And I'm just digging this, man. Yeah. I'm not at ease with anything that's happening here. And he's so vulnerable to everything that's going on in this house. Mm-hmm. He hasn't done this in years. Maybe as a kid, maybe he's out of his element here. And so he has to find where Dalton is in this house. And he comes across other, I don't know, ghosts and
that have left an imprint
on this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, we get the scene in that bedroom, with this woman and I don't know, we don't get a lot of this woman, but she's upset and she's in the corner of this bedroom, and it's these little things. And then he ends up, and if I missed, an interaction with another, spirit or whatever, let me know. But I think he ends up to this red door, right? Yeah. Is this where? Yeah,
I think so. I think there was the family, with the murder, and then there was that room with this one girl.
I don't know what she is.
Was she? she saying something to him.
I don't remember if she was saying something. I thought she was crying or something.
Maybe.
I don't recall.
I thought she turned to the camera and started to say something.
She may have. I don't remember.
But yeah, then there was the red door. I don't think there was anything after
and then of course he has this fight with this, this demon or spirit we saw earlier on in the movie.
The guy pacing behind outside the window.
I forget I don't know if he has they probably have him in the credits as something, but I don't know what he is.
Yeah.
But anyways, there's that fight between the two, and
I believe during that scene, Elise sort of kind of yells to him and says, reminds him, you're alive.
Yeah.
So you have power over, because he was kind of getting his ass kicked.
He was getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
She did. And he did. He used his, his power and really kind of kicked the whatever's ass, and now he's inside this really where Dalton is being kept.
Uh-huh.
And it's weird to me. It looked, again, it's about painting a picture. It looked like almost like some room you would find in a mansion. I don't know. I don't even know how you would call it, but right? I mean, stairs and almost like this.
Well, there's like a landing inside this. It's interesting because inside this room, there's obviously a set of stairs and there's like this landing.
Yeah.
And it's unusual because
they did what I love, and we haven't talked a lot about this. I'm a sucker for music. I've talked about this. I love music sets a tone for me.
Oh yeah.
And if the music is effective and just well done, I'm all aboard, man.
Yeah.
And the music here and the colors, a lot of the red, and we know, and we of course associate red with evil, and James Wan does this throughout the movie, and just the way all the setting and the sets and all of that, they do such a fantastic job with this to create this.
They do
this eeriness and this
Yeah, because so Dalton's on a.
Looks like he's like on the ground, and he's like, is he on the ground?
I think he's on a mattress, or he's on a mattress bed or something, but it's low to the ground. Yeah. There's just a lot of ornate stuff in this room.
And he's handcuffed, or kind of handcuffed.
He's
shackled.
His
handcuffed.
feet.
Yeah. Shackled and so Josh is trying to, get him loose, and you got to be quiet, Dad, because
dude's upstairs.
Man. And this is
there's that I think it's polyphonic. And there's the old old record player.
This is awesome, dude. I love this.
And it was interesting because he's like behind.
I don't know.
It's like a door.
It's almost like glass or something.
It's like glass, but there's like wrought iron too.
Yeah, what the hell is this
he's like
room?
In this room on this landing behind like glass.
And what is he doing in there? I almost thought he was like,
it's like a workshop.
Yes.
He's in there. He's got one of those grinders, the sharpeners.
Right.
And he's like sharpening his damn talons.
Oh my God, dude.
Listening to some old 1920s
fucking
music.
So fucking scary right now, dude.
Oh my God.
And of course, Josh is getting Dalton free. And they turn, and he's like, look, he's staring at
Well,
us.
so he's got one shackle off, and he's getting ready to get the other shackle off, and Dalton goes, Dad, look, and all of a sudden the camera pans, and the demon's like in the window,
fucking scary,
or at the door,
dude.
like all,
yeah, dude. Oh my God. And then he's, they're shitting bricks right now, and they're like, okay, we got to get you loose, and let's get you out of here. And of course, we get the lipstick, demon. Lipstick face, whatever the hell he's called, and he's there, and it's awesome, dude. He's got hooves, and I mean, just scary, dude. I don't know. I mean, the hooves remind you of kind of like a goat or some shit. I mean,
that's
in like lore, like our is the devil or demons? Do they? I mean, would this be kind of a?
So the devil, I mean, in certain lore, has
hooves, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this all makes sense.
Absolutely. No, it's right there.
This all makes sense. And
That was not something ridiculous. That was
and it makes for a very creepy, ominous creature.
Mhm.
And that's what this demon is.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this, but the demon was played by the composer of this movie.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
like
that's
he's,
cool.
little jack of all trades here.
Yeah.
But they, there's that struggle, there's this fight, but eventually, look, we kind of get out of this area, and Josh has Dalton. He's trying to make his way back to the new house where his body is.
Through the further.
The further.
Yeah.
And of course we get a lot of dark, and we get a lot of, we get a lot of spirits and ghosts and all these things that are happening here. And we get back. I don't know if we made our way back to the house, but I think he's trying to get into the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And trying to find his way, And of course we got a lot of other, things that are happening here. We got, I think we got, I don't know if it's Specs or Tucker goes into the kitchen, and then, we got he's going into the drawer, and we got the hand that comes out of the drawer. So we have all these,
because they are away from their physical bodies. So the further they're away from it, the weaker the link is. So now you got all these ghosts that are attempting to
kind of take over this, right? I mean, they're almost not necessarily fighting over this, not necessarily fighting over this shell or this body, but I mean, they're slowly moving in,
making their way.
Yeah. Time is running out.
It is. And Josh, he stops. And when he gets into the house, he stops because he sees the woman with the black wedding dress, and he's like, "What do you do? Who are you?" Like,
there's this confrontation here. This is this is the woman, or this ghost or demon that we've talked about earlier on, where this is the one that was showing up when he was a kid, trying to take over him.
It was like, she or he or whatever, wanted him. And, and it was at that point when, Elise got involved, that they hypnotized him to forget. So, and also to forget about astral projecting. So this is the first time she's had an opportunity to, I don't know, maybe possibly take over Josh's body, because he hasn't astral projected since he was like 9-year-old,
Yeah. She's still around though.
Yeah.
And so, there's this, there's that confrontation there with really just, I mean, it's the two of them, but it's really him. And, and it almost looks like he's, I don't know, scared her off. I mean, we see we kind of see her fade off into the distance, and we're like, okay, and he stood up for himself. He's okay now. And so, but we get some more of the lipstick demon, inside of the bedroom.
What I love is, remember when the demon comes out and goes down the hallway, and he's like, crawling sideways down the wall.
Dude, that is awesome, man.
I love that.
It reminded me a little bit, and I've seen this before in Jeepers Creepers.
Yes.
And I think it's been in some other movies too, but I just,
you can't get enough of that.
No,
there is something about that, it's because it's almost, what are the only other things that we know of that do that sort of thing? Insects. And most of the time you got occasionally you'll run across a person who's not scared of bugs. But look, most people don't like spiders or anything, on them, let alone around them.
Yeah.
And this thing crawling sideways on a wall is just unnatural. It's just not.
And tweaking the almost the speed of the camera.
Yeah.
Like the boy is at one speed.
Yeah.
And this demon is at another.
It's almost done in itself, like done in still frame.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we get that, and this is, I mean, they are. Is there, again, I just watched this last night, and this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes I just forget. Is there any really confrontation, like anything that's settled between this lipstick demon and them? Or is this simply Josh and Dalton make their way back to,
Yeah.
Really, it's not really, I guess it's Josh more so making his way back to his
They never
body.
conquered this demon.
No.
What it was the final scene there is a race to get to the bodies.
Exactly.
Essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we get this, and we're thinking everything is good. And we know Josh is now awake,
Mm-hmm.
and he seems okay.
Yeah.
And he's got a hell of an appetite.
Yeah.
He's like shoveling spaghetti in like there's no business, man.
Oh, you mean Dalton?
I'm sorry, Dalton. Yeah. Josh. Yeah. Dalton. Like he's got
he hasn't eaten for like
4 months. Dude, he's got like,
I mean, except intravenously.
He's got like double fisted forks. And
it's seriously like spaghetti, I think he's eating or something.
Yeah. And then I think he says something like, I'm tired. I'm like, really?
She's all like, you are not going to sleep forever.
Yeah. And so they think all is well, man. I mean, all is good, right? I mean, they've essentially tackled these spirits and demons, and they've come out on top. At least we think they have.
This house is clean.
And so we have this really kind of towards the end scene here with Elise and Josh,
mm-hmm.
where she, of course, she notices something about him, and
so he hands her the camera?
It might have been the camera or something.
And she looks down at his hand. Now we don't see his hand
immediately. Yes, we see this.
But she obviously she sees something in it or about it that makes her go, "What in the?" know? And it's, I think, at that point that she, when his back was turned, she gets the camera ready, and he turns, and she snaps a picture.
She starts snapping pictures, and of course he freaks out.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? And we think at first it's, he doesn't like his picture taken. Oh, no.
Yeah.
And then he starts basically strangling her to death and ends up killing her.
Yep.
And kills Elise. And then we get this, Renee, I think, comes into the living room and sees Elise dead.
Yeah.
And Josh is nowhere to be found.
Yeah. Doesn't she grab the camera?
She grabs the camera.
And you get the dolly cam.
Thank you. It's called Dolly Zoom.
Yep. Dolly Zoom.
Yeah. Thank you, because I have that in my notes.
Yeah.
It's funny how you start to notice these things. Like, the first time I really ever saw this was in Jaws. And then, of course, it was in Night of the Creeps. And then it was in Piranha 3D.
Yeah.
I will have to say, not as effective as Jaws.
Yeah.
This one was pretty good. Pretty good. Piranha 3D was a little lazy.
I think a dolly zoom was more than once on this movie.
Was it?
I think so.
I just noticed it with Renee at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was, but I only noticed the one time. And I love these things.
Could have been in the second one too.
Yeah. And so I love when these things are sprinkled throughout.
Yeah.
And so
it's so effective too, because for me, what a dolly zoom does, it's what they're trying to convey is a moment of realization.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to convey with that whole, it's like a tunnel vision realization moment,
It's such a powerful technique. And if you use it sparingly,
you don't want to
No, you can't.
Too much frosting on a cake.
Yes, you can't do that. And they just do it just enough. And of course us, us geeks kind of, especially since a couple of weeks ago, I think we had the Prawn episode and they did it in that, and then in the Night of the Creeps episode. And so, and I just love saying dolly zoom anyway. So,
sure.
But anyway, so we get this, Renee realizes that, Josh is this, whatever this is, this witch and ghost and
Mm-hmm.
she's taken over Josh's
She managed
spot.
to get to his body.
She got to him. And so then I think we get Josh moseys back into the living room, doesn't he? And says something.
No, I thought that he was still in there. It was Renee that goes in there.
I thought Josh, but when she comes in the living room, I don't think she sees Josh immediately. She sees
Elise dead. That's right.
Sees the camera, and then Josh shows up and he says something, and then I think we get that.
Actually, I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure that. No, I don't think Josh even goes in. No, Josh doesn't go in there. Renee goes in, sees Elise there dead, and is like, my God, and I think she picks up the camera and she looks at the camera
But she sees the ghost, but I just watched this last night. Josh's voice comes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does he say?
I forget what he said. But he says something.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and I don't think it's on the camera because it's just a regular camera. It's not like a.
But it was like, because the very end of it was Renee looking at the camera and having that like realization.
No, his voice is there. Yeah, I heard it last night.
Okay.
I just don't remember what he said.
Yeah, I don't either.
So it was almost like it was almost like something he said, it was almost like he was playing it off like, oh, what happened here?
Yeah.
Not realizing that she knows that,
That's right. Yeah.
But I'm almost positive this, man.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then we get that abrupt end, with the Insidious and the awesome music and this, fucking music is awesome. But
well, our old asses are going to have to look that up or.
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Exactly what it was he said, because that is right. No, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot. It's just enough that, oh, here I am. And, maybe you don't realize I'm this now. I'm not Josh anymore. I'm this,
Yeah.
I just don't remember what he said, but it's super quick and it's in a super abrupt ending with the, Insidious.
Yeah.
And the music and
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And there we go, man. And we got the, great movie. I love this movie.
I'd say this movie is up there as one of my all-time favorite, like
it's
ghost.
It absolutely is. I agree with you, man. Like it's on the lines.
I don't think it gets better than this.
Conjuring,
honestly.
The first Conjuring is great.
Yeah, same vein.
And again, done by James Wan. This is an awesome movie, man. It's you don't see, there are a lot of good horror movies out there.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's the attention to detail that puts it over and makes it a great horror movie. And this has all of it.
Yeah.
It has all the elements of a fantastic horror movie.
Yeah.
I mean, what doesn't it have? It has everything. The acting is great.
There's literally,
Yeah.
I can't think of any aspect of movie making that this movie fumbled or
hit on everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I can't think of anything that I could critique and go, God, I wish they had done it maybe this way, or I just really can't.
I can't either.
Nope.
And then, look, we talked about some of the trope stuff, and that's okay. But some of the stuff that he did that we didn't expect, the demon in the kitchen during the day, it's just things you just don't.
So, yeah, it's okay to have these certain horror tropes or ghost movie tropes. There's nothing wrong with it as long as your movie doesn't rest upon those tropes.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's almost, yeah. It's impossible these days, really, if you think about it, to do a movie and you're not going to find some sort of.
Yeah. And so there is nothing wrong with sprinkling those in. The problem with it, with some movies is when they rely too heavily on tropes. And in my opinion, it's because the story sucked to begin with.
Yes.
So they're trying to use tropes as a means to bolster the.
So an interesting, and we've talked about this movie in the past, and I love this movie, and I know you watched it because when you did the music for it, which was Night of the Creeps,
mm-hmm.
and I think Night of the Creeps was, I think, our second episode, and I love this movie, but riddled with tropes.
Oh yeah.
Almost too many of them. And I talked about this in our past episode where all the character names were basically horror director names and stuff. And I'm okay with one or two, but when you just shove it down my throat, I still love the movie, but that would be an example of just way too many. But anyways, dude, I think we've talked for a while. I think we've touched. I don't think there's anything that we've left out. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we covered everything. Listeners, if you haven't seen this movie, I know we spoiled the hell out of it.
Yeah, go check it out.
Watch it. Check
it out. Hopefully you enjoy it. I think that's going to do it for this episode. Next week, you're going to be back. With a guest, your daughter, more importantly, my goddaughter.
Yeah. Because you're the godfather.
That's right, man. Shaylee's going to join us for our, finally going to be able to do our episode on The Exorcist. My all-time favorite horror movie.
I'm working diligently on the music on this thing.
Yes. I can't wait. So anyways, everyone take care and, tune in next week. Thanks again for listening. Make sure you tell everyone about our Ear for Fear podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Ear for Fear. You can also check out our website, earforfear.com. There you can keep up to date on news, events, and episodes. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you come back and get an earful.